Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dedric and Krystal Polite. We are live here in Charlotte at the REI event. I want to introduce you to someone who's very important to us.
Yes.
Mr. Brad Hochman. Brad is actually one of the executives who greenlit our TV show, 50/50 Flip, on Hulu and A&E. This is a good friend of ours, so we just want to introduce him to the world. What do you want to say, Brad?
Thank you. I mean, who cares about me? Dedric and Krystal are the real deal. I spent how many years? A couple years with them. Saw the good, the bad, and the beautiful. And you're seeing it them. So if you need mentors in both entrepreneurship and real estate investing, there's only two people on this planet that you need to learn from. It's Dedric and Krystal. So not about me, it's about them.
And look, Brad is now also a full-time investor himself. So we're really thankful that he pulled up to spend some time with us again.
Yes. Oh, well, that is the thing. If I can do it and learn from these, then y'all can do it.
Listen, Brad made the transition from a top executive at a top TV network. Now he's a full-time entrepreneur and real estate investor. And like he said, if he can do it, you can do it too.
Well, let's do it. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves a little bit, and then I'll leave, once you introduce yourselves, tell me a little bit before real estate. What were you guys doing and what did life look like?
What's up, guys? I'm Dedric Polite. I'm one half of Be Polite Properties. This is the better half, my beautiful wife, Krystal. We are real estate investors, entrepreneur. I grew up in a small town in South Carolina, Beaufort, South Carolina. Was raised up in Boston, Massachusetts. I'm someone that just did what my parents told me to do. It told me to go to school, get good grades, and go out and get a good job, right? I went to school, graduated, got a job in corporate America, hated it, always wanted to be an entrepreneur, always wanted to be a real estate investor. But it wasn't until I met this young lady who's a firecracker. She kind of kicked my butt and kind of made me realize that I had something called analysis paralysis. I don't know if anyone else suffers from that, but I would overthink things and not take action. So once we met, she pushed me into entrepreneurship, and it's been a whirlwind ever since, and here we are today.
I agree with everything he said. But I too is from Boston, Massachusetts originally. So how we got here is because my family is from North Carolina. And Dedric followed me, of course. But I am one of four, also product of a single parent household, and I did exactly what Dedric did. I did what my mother said to do, right? Even when she didn't know I was listening, or I didn't want her to know I was listening, I was still listening. So I'm trying to now get that across to my sons, right? Even if you ain't listening to me or you don't want to, listen behind closed doors, right? Because that's the only difference between me and my own siblings, right? Is because and my mother will tell anyone, what will she say?
You're the one that listens.
You can always tell the one child of mine who listened. So I listened to what she said. The only difference was my mother knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. How did she know? Because at 4 years old, I was telling people I'm going to be an entrepreneur. I'm going to be an attorney, I'm going to own my own law firm, and I'm going to hire homeless people and train them to work for me. That was my dream all the way up until maybe my sophomore year in college, freshman year in college, when I wrote, produced, and directed a stage play. And that's when entrepreneurship really hit me, where it was like, okay, maybe I'm good at something other than law. So after that, took my stage play, got raked over the coals from a partner of mine, quit entrepreneurship for about a year or two. Then what do? You go back and you find God. Ain't that what you do, right? That's what I did. I got raked over the coals and taken advantage of. I was 18 though, right? My partner was like, oh yeah, we're not really making money on this tour, even though we were hitting like every college. And all of a sudden, he popped up with 4 multifamilies in Rhode Island and Boston, a brand new Cadillac truck. I'm still in my Eddie Bauer edition.
92. Those are nice.
What year was it? It was 2012. Wait, 2002. Mine was maybe like 92. I think mine was a 92, 93 Eddie Bauer edition. Barely hanging on. So then after that, I quit entrepreneurship, went back to the church, because that's what they say. You will not far depart from it, right? Went back. From there, I met Dedric, actually. And our first date, a lot of you guys know this story, was a what?
It's a business meeting.
Business meeting. We were sitting here like we're sitting here right now in front of you guys, like, so you want to tell me about your 5-year plans and your 6-year plans and 10-year, what is your credit score?
It was an interview.
That's exactly what it was. And from that point, I learned that he was an entrepreneur, which was a must on my bucket list. So once we found that out, I did what most women do. I sent him on his way. And I said, okay, come back in a year and we'll revisit this. So that's what he did. Is this your first time hearing this story?
No, I remember that version.
I said, go out for a year and come back in a year, we'll revisit this. And that's what he did. He came back in a year. We revisited, and we've been rocking strong.
He won't
Is that not what happened?
Next question.
Right.
No, I'm just playing.
And ever since then, he has said everything has been real estate with him. Mine was just entrepreneurship. I just knew I had to own my own business. He went into his house, you see the VHS tapes, the CDs, the books, and please don't nobody ask me what is a VHS tape. But he had bookshelves of VHS tapes on real estate. Who were the people again?
Carlton Sheets, Dean Graziosi, some of those old school 90s infomercial guys. I was studying their stuff. I would read all the stuff and go to the seminars, but I wouldn't take action because I was afraid of failing, right? What if I fail? What if I lose money, right? I grew up broke. I don't want to go back to being broke behind this real estate.
And that was definitely him. Dedric, when you say, you know how a lot of us have that fear, Dedric was like, when he said he grew up broke, he's not going back. That's what he meant. So for us, it was like, okay, Dedric, when you guys see anyone who's seen the TV show, including Trey, our contractor, he'll tell you, when it comes to that budget, it's for real. That is how he is. And for him, his mindset, it was always $5. What you mean $5? Trey, come on now, come on. How much? Listen, you gonna tell me you can't sheetrock this whole house for $100? That is how my husband is. I kid you not. But for me, it was when we got together, it was me just changing his mindset and helping him understand, like, listen, we're not gonna keep talking. You ain't gonna talk me to death about real estate. It's either we're gonna do it or you're gonna have to shut up about it. Cause I don't window shop, do I? Don't take me to no car lot if we ain't coming off the lot with a car. Don't take me to the jewelry store if I ain't coming out with a ring or some earrings.
We have set the man up for failure by not giving him his own mic.
But that's how it was for us when we got started, right? Very direct. We were like, look, we're gonna build from the beginning. Dedric and I, 2 months in, what it was like before real estate, it was us trying to figure it out. And it took Dedric getting fired and moping around for 2 weeks. He ain't never been fired before. How many of us have been fired? And Dedric had never been fired. So it was
the first time.
It was the first time, end of the world. He's dying. Like, it's just like 2 weeks I came every day. And he was in the same robe, same clothes. What you do today? Just, trying to figure it out.
Hey, thank you. Because she could go on all night.
Hey, is that not what it was?
If my baby was getting paid by the word, we'd be billionaires.
But he asked what it was like before. This is what it was. That's how we got into real estate. It took Dedric getting fired and him thinking the world was over.
Yeah.
And me coming by, like, I know that ain't the same robe. I know you ain't still moping around. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't know.
Broke, busted, and disgusted.
And I said, look, F that job, because I can't keep seeing this robe. listen, the job lost you, you didn't lose that job. I said, so from here on out, you are going to walk in your true God-given purpose. You're going to figure it out. Now it's time for you to do what God has truly ordained you to do. I said, and don't worry about no mortgage payments. Don't worry about this brand new little car got outside and looked nice. Don't worry about that car payment. Don't worry about any of that because I'll hold you down.
And that was when I knew she was the one, because she spoke life into me at that, one of my lowest points. So thank you, babe.
You're welcome. And then I told him, first thing you're going to go do is apply for this unemployment because they owe you.
Yeah, I didn't know about unemployment. I didn't know I was paying into this unemployment insurance for years and years. Okay, now I can collect on some of these payments? Yeah, let me get that check.
Had no idea. I said yes, and it's past the week mark, so let's go on and apply. Because you got to wait till that Friday. Ask me how I know. You got to wait till that Friday before you can apply when you get fired. So I said, yeah, let's go online and apply for this unemployment. But you don't worry about it. For him, coming from the educational background that he came from with all these prestigious schools, for him it was just like, oh my God, I'm a failure. For me, it was an opportunity. That's how I look at it. Fired don't mean final. So I told him, go off and figure out what your real God-given purpose is. Within a week, he had his own company started, was teaching at Harvard, and then came across Airbnb. And that was our first business venture together in real estate, was Airbnb in 2012. And 2 months in, we were dating 2 months in. So, most of us don't even like each other like that in 2 months. But I told him I had to show him that I truly believed in who he was as a man and his purpose and his ability to lead us. And he found Airbnb. He said, listen, we can do your apartment since I was kinda at his place.
She was always at my place, right? She couldn't get enough of your boy. She was always at my place, and her apartment was always sitting vacant. So I was like, why don't we rent out your apartment? Because you ain't never there. And I was like, hold on, your brother stays. Brother's crashing there. She was like, hold on, he was.
And I grabbed my phone and I was like, hey, you got 2 weeks and I'm gonna need you out. No, wait, I'm gonna start paying. Too late.
He wasn't paying no rent.
I already got it rented. I'm gonna need you out in 2 weeks. He said, oh man, 2 weeks. 2 weeks. I'm gonna need you out. 2 weeks.
Threw that bad boy on Airbnb and bookings started coming in.
Off to the races at that point. Now, of course, everything good don't last forever.
Well, so this is actually one of the questions. So somebody actually did say, one of the questions was, what are your thoughts on Airbnb? So we'll let you go ahead, and we're going to get the question answered now. So go ahead.
We love Airbnb, right? So, and we have about a dozen of them. So we love the business model. That was our very first business model. That one didn't work out so well, because that was before arbitrage, which is the legal way. We did it the illegal way. Right?
Well, now they call it Airbnb arbitrage,
Right.
where you go and rent an apartment and then you turn around and sublease it on Airbnb.
Right. Ours was just illegal all the way around.
Well, we just started renting it.
We just started renting it without the landlord knowing and got caught up and evicted. However, there's always a silver lining. We was already planning on moving anyway.
We was already moving.
This is God just saying we're going to do it.
That was God's way of saying, listen, I done moved y'all to bigger and better things. We had already found an apartment in North Carolina. We had already had the U-Haul, had my brother and them lined up. So we literally was already transitioning. But we got greedy. Well, not me, Dedric. Because I said, they were doing construction in the building, and I said, we should probably halt these bookings.
Oh, you did say that. I remember that.
Nah, babe.
Well, there's also people coming and going every hour, all hours of the night. The neighbors started getting wind of it and complaining. So
no, it was the fact that we didn't halt them bookings, and the contractors who was doing the construction in my apartment was like, somebody was trying to get in, and they was like, I'm sorry, are you Krystal? And they was like, No, I rented the apartment.
What's the suitcases for?
Yeah. And so, yeah, that didn't end too well for us. We ended up in court.
But no, Airbnb in general, so we're in Burlington, North Carolina. It's about an hour and a half up 85 north of here. Our Airbnbs do well. They started as long-term rentals, but the cash flow was like $300-400 a month on these long-term rental single-family homes, which was minimal. So we decided to transition a lot of those into short-term rentals. And our average Airbnb probably clears about $1,000 a month profit up in that area. You may think like, who's coming to Burlington, North Carolina? It's not really a tourist destination, but we get a lot of people like construction workers, people coming
a lot
back
of
to visit
parents, because
family.
we have Elon University. So you have a lot of parents who come in. You have a lot of manufacturing companies whose employees come in. So when you're in an area that's not like an Atlanta or a Charlotte, this is what you're looking for in those areas. Who else would be coming here? And then you got to think, right? A lot of people move away from these small towns, but their families still live there. So they come back to visit. And this is where they come. A lot of people come and stay in our Airbnbs because their families, my families come and stay. And yes, they pay. But they come back because all of the family is still there.
And they don't want to stay in a hotel.
No.
They'd rather stay in a house. And then on a small town Airbnb, it's less saturated versus like a Charlotte or an Atlanta. So you can have a lot less competition.
Good deal.
I got a question over here for you guys. Jumping back into the transition to real estate, husband and wife team kind of creates a different dynamic. Was that something that was intentional, like, hey, we're going to do this together? Or did it kind of evolve into you had the strong suits with the underwriting, you had the interior design eye? Like, is it something that you thought about, hey, we're going to go in and do this together? Or did it just kind of like deal by deal, hey, you're helping with this one, you're helping this one, it's a side hustle, let's go all in on it together?
Yeah, I mean, from the beginning, our first date, like she said, was a business meeting. So I didn't want a wife that went to work every day and I saw her maybe in the evenings and weekends. I wanted to build something with my wife, right? Build an empire together. Selfishly, I didn't want her working for another man, right? If she's gonna work for a man, it's gonna be me. But no, we want to build something together. It's not easy being in business with your spouse. It's probably harder than most people think.
Oh, that's what we're doing?
But I wouldn't
Okay.
trade it for anything.
Okay, he had to throw that on at the end. You see that little sauce?
Go ahead and give me the mic before you get in trouble.
Yeah, threw that on at the end real quick. Yes, it was very intentional for us. It was, for me, I said my next partner would only be my husband. I wasn't gonna get into a partnership with anyone else. And I needed, like he said on our first date, to know that he was an entrepreneur. Because I know it's hard.
And his credit score.
And his credit score. Right. And family medical history. All of that came up.
First date.
First date.
First date.
Any pre-existing conditions, you know.
I know some of y'all would have got up and walked out like, that's not what I saw.
But it was intentional because I said it takes a lot to understand the mindset of an entrepreneur, right? And a lot of us are married or dating individuals who are not entrepreneurs. They have W-2s, and that's great. And then you go to them and say, babe, I'm about to quit my job, and I'm about to go all in on this car wash idea. And they're like,
That's not what I signed up for.
this is not, wait a minute, hold up. Okay, honey, let's dial it back. Let's dial it back. Car wash. And they don't understand that vision, right? Because a lot of entrepreneurs are visionaries as well, right? So for me, I said I have to be with someone who is an entrepreneur. So it's not a battle with me every time I have to say, hey, babe, I want to open up 50 nightclubs and I want to do it in 2 years.
She's a true visionary. So like every other month, she has a new business idea or a new LLC she wants to start. So I have to kind of rein her back sometimes because she's a visionary.
You do. But it's great to have that visionary integrator, but he also understands when it's time to just let me fly, right? And listen and be like, yeah, babe, okay, is that something you want to do? Da-da-da. And he'll transition, but he will hold me accountable. So it's not just like, hey, babe, I think we need to open up this car wash on the 80th floor of this building. And then he not tell me like, okay, well, tell me how's that supposed to work?
How are we gonna make money?
How are we gonna make money? Okay, what's the logistics? How we gonna get the water up there? So he holds me accountable to whatever that dream or that vision is. But because of that, we made great partnerships because we also don't step on each other's toes. He has his area in every business. I have my area in every business. We rarely cross over. And then if we do, it's more so if I'm talking to him about, if it was marketing, I'll talk to him about marketing and be like, hey, listen, babe, now I'm doing marketing, he's doing sales. I'm bringing in the leads. Why we ain't closing?
And I'm closing the leads. So I'm like, you need to bring in some more leads. Or some
Exactly.
better leads.
So we hold each other accountable. Like if you're not closing and I know I'm giving you leads, you got to explain to me why. And vice versa. If I'm not bringing in enough leads at the time, he would be like, where's the leads at? I can't close nothing. So that's also a great thing when it comes to being partners. But like he said, it is also always a challenge when it's a husband and wife team. It comes with its challenges. Some of y'all saw play out on TV. But the great thing about it is he works from the office, I work from home. Because look, we see each other too much as it is, all day, every day. So I have to call him just like everybody else do. And he don't pick up, just like for anyone else. And then I got to keep calling and be like, you done lost your mind. So it's normal relationship stuff. Like, you don't see me calling in all caps. And then he got to call me back like, babe, I was in a meeting. Just text me that then. So, I mean, working with your spouse is great, but it comes with its own set of challenges.
Let's get into the real estate side of things a little bit. Airbnb, what was the next jump? Did you start doing some wholesaling, or did you get into flipping? And then Dedric, you take this. I'll give this to Jerry.
Yeah, so the next jump was we wanted to get into the game. We actually hired a mentor out of Charlotte. She was one of the trainers for Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So August 2016, so what's that, 8-9 years ago, we came down to Charlotte for a weekend. We sat in the conference room and I had a mentor that we paid who taught us how to flip houses A to Z. The only problem is that we didn't have the money to buy houses and flip them. So we had all this knowledge we had just learned, but we were like, after the seminar, we was like, well, we don't have the cash to buy these properties that we're talking about here. So she was like, why don't you guys tell me that before you pay me all this money to teach you how to flip houses? So she was like, all right, you guys need to build up your capital. You need to build up a stack of cash, so you need to learn wholesaling. And we had heard about wholesaling. So she was like, go to this marketing boot camp. It's in St. Louis. You need to learn how to find motivated sellers. And we were like, okay. But she kept on us. Yep. And she kept reminding us, and like a month went by, she kept like, hey, did you guys sign up for that boot camp?
Yep.
You sign up. And finally we were like, all right, we signed up for the boot camp, spent a couple thousand going down to St. Louis. And at that boot camp, they offered an opportunity to join what's called a mastermind group. And a mastermind group, for those who don't know, is a group of individuals who are like top level in a certain industry. So imagine the top real estate flippers in Charlotte got together once a month. And they sit around a conference room and they share best ideas. Like, hey, here's how I'm finding my deals. Here's how I'm funding my deals. This is the market I'm going after. And they share their ideas. And the goal is that everyone shares their nugget so that the whole group rises. That's what happens in every single city. So they offered the opportunity to join this mastermind group. The cost was $16,000 to get into the room. We didn't have $16,000, but when they offered it, we knew that's what we needed to do.
I knew.
Well, Krystal knew. I didn't know because I'm like, 16,000?
Right.
Damn, that's a lot of money.
They made the call.
Everybody's running to the back of the room.
Dedric
I'm just sitting
sat
there
there.
blinking.
He was just like this.
Looking straight. Like, don't move. I'm just blanking. I'm not taking my credit card out.
That's exactly how he looked. He was just like.
She's kicking me under the table like, we need to sign up.
No, I turned and looked at him like, and I said, is there a reason why you still sitting here?
Y'all see that? So she threatened me.
He was like, babe, we don't have 16. And you know how other people are around, so he just, babe, we don't have 16,000.
Talking with your mouth not moving.
And I said, put it on the credit card.
So thankfully, we had a business credit card, right? And I went back there and I put the $16,000 on a business credit card. And that was one of the best investments we've ever made because it put us in the room around, everyone in that room was making 7 figures plus a year,
Yep.
full-time real estate investors from all over the country. And we hadn't even closed our first deal. The only way we got in the room is because we paid 16 grand to get into that room. And you want to talk about the experience of that mastermind, how the first few times we went out there?
Yeah, it was definitely humbling, right? So every quarter you're going out to meet with these individuals. Like Dedric said, everyone was a full-time real estate investor except for us.
And you get put on the hot seat. So when you go out there for those quarterly meetings, they put you on a hot seat in front of a whole group of people. They're like, all right, what'd you do? How many deals did you close? How much money did you make? How many units did you add to your portfolio?
Yep.
And we were like, nothing yet.
You have to do a give. What can you give? What are you asking for in return? You go through all this. And for us, it was like, okay, well, we made about 100 calls.
We called some people. We sent out a few letters.
Out some postcards. We sent out about 50 postcards. And everybody sitting here looking like, I know you lying. I know we ain't about to sit through an hour of this. And so needless to say, ours was quick. You know, everybody else is like, well, I really only brought in an extra 40 units. I know I said I was aiming for 80 this quarter. I only closed 5.2 in transactions. I was really hoping to hit that 8 mil mark. So I know I fell off a little bit. I had some deaths in the family. And Dedric and I are just sitting there looking like, I can't believe we signed up for this. This is crazy. So I told him after the second one, still nothing done. Now,
and we were trying.
We're trying, but I realized something immediately, and I'm very competitive, extremely competitive. So I didn't like that feeling of being in the room and being the only ones who have done absolutely nothing and it moved no traction in our business. And this is our second quarter. We had 2 boys, one was a newborn, I was still breastfeeding. We're paying for his mother to fly out with us. She's in the hotel room. I'm running upstairs, downstairs, every little break to breastfeed. I'm like, bro, we're not doing this. All this money we shelling out. We ain't coming back a third quarter if we ain't did nothing. So luckily, third quarter, we didn't come back. See, I know y'all thought I was gonna say we did stuff. We didn't come back because we didn't do nothing. So we were on Zoom. And both of us virtually telling them, again, we didn't do nothing. So I told Dedric, I said, this is it. I realized at that point, we both still had our jobs and we were comfortable. And I know a lot of us go through that where you're comfortable with this job. So it's kind of like you got one foot in, one foot out. It's like, I can do real estate, but do I have to do it? It's kind of like I'm making good money. So it's like, it's not.
Because I was doing sales, I was making over 6 figures at my corporate job. You know, she was making good money. So again, we were comfortable.
We were comfortable. At that point, I was like, we're not doing this. If this is what you truly want to do, we're going to go all in. So for that next year, we're still in the mastermind. We started asking for help. Something we weren't doing. Even though we paid to be in the room, we were embarrassed, so we wouldn't ask anybody to help us. Right. At that point, I was like, all bets are off. We were asking people, like, okay, what are you doing in yours? Okay, can we apply that? We were doing mobile bandit signs on wheels, you name it.
All type of marketing.
All type of marketing. If somebody said they were doing it, we were trying it. And at that point, someone said, you guys are a good-looking couple. Dedric said, we're having a problem raising private money. And he was like, well, you know what? You two are a really good-looking couple. And why don't y'all start documenting your journey and just putting it on social media so people can see that you're actually doing what you say you're doing, and then they'll be more inclined to give you money. And that's what happened. Dedric was like, I don't know, because my wife, she real private. I said, well, you can do it, but I'm not doing it.
She wanted no parts of social media.
None at all. And I'm super private, if you can't tell. I am. I'm a really private person. So for him, I was like, well, you can do it. I'll record you. And that's what we started doing. If you go back and watch our earlier YouTube videos, it's just us documenting our journey.
2017, 2018.
And that's what really, once I said, and for the next year, we put a plan into place for me to leave my corporate job. Every quarter, we banked a portion of my paycheck. So we were living off of Dedric's paycheck. That's how we transitioned into real estate full time.
I have a quick question I was just thinking about as you're telling that story. You did the $16,000, you did the mastermind because you wanted to raise capital to flip. Was that still the end goal in mind when you went through Q4, when you went through the full year of doing it? Hey, we just got to get money so we can flip? Or was it like, now that we paid all this, let's just do wholesaling full time to make money that way?
No, so we'll back up a little bit, Eric. So the only reason we started wholesaling, our main goal in real estate is to build a buy and hold portfolio.
Yep.
We didn't flip our first house, and Brad can attest to this, until we got on national TV. That's when we did our first flip.
Right.
Day Avenue, Trey. That was our first flip. So we joined the mastermind to get around people so we can learn wholesaling. Wholesaling, we did that only to get cash to buy rental properties. So we were buying rental houses with our wholesale paychecks, using that as down payments, and then we were renovating these rentals, but keeping them. And we were documenting that process on social media, so that attracted investors who were like, oh, you guys are really doing this. You're serious about this. All right, let me loan you some money for this deal. So that's how we got into it.
So one of the questions is the major hurdles that you guys had securing the funds for that initial flip. Talk about how that actually came to be. How did you get the first funds for that first flip?
Dedric mama?
Yeah, my mom. I was raised by a single mom. We were on Section 8, but she, of course, if anybody gonna believe in you, your mama's gonna believe in you.
I promise you.
And my mom, she was 10 toes in.
Yep.
And she saw how serious we were, and we had bought a property for $15,000. It needed about $40,000 in renovations, and we were short, right, for the renovation, like 10 grand short.
You're always short. Yeah, you're always short.
We're about 10 grand short, and I told my mom, and she was like, I don't have much, but it's my last $10,000, but I believe in you. So she loaned me the $10,000. We finished the renovation, refinanced it, paid her back with interest, and she was one of our first private investors.
That answers the next question. How supportive were your families? So, yeah, whoever asked that, I think you just got your answer. They were very supportive. They were willing to give it all. So that's fantastic. I'm just going to pause here and look through some of these questions real quick. Getting some great questions, but I want to make sure that they're right for the moment. But all right, so let's talk about after the first flip, you're documenting everything. What was the next phase for you guys? What really kind of solidified that you guys have something here? We're going to make this work. What did phase 2 look like?
So phase 2 for us was we mastered wholesaling. So wholesaling is the art of how do you find a deal? How do you know what is a deal? What does a deal look like, right? We mastered that, and we were getting large chunks of cash. We were making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month wholesaling. That fueled our rental portfolio. So we went from 0 units to like 20 units in less than a year, right? So we were buying single family homes, thank you, duplexes, quadplexes. But then at some point, when you're wholesaling and flipping, you run out of cash if you're using only your own cash.
But we weren't flipping houses. We were just renovating our own houses.
To flip quality standards.
There you go.
And we were keeping them. So we started getting low on cash, and then we found a new mentor. So this new mentor we met, he's out of actually Winston-Salem. He had built a portfolio of like 200-300 single family homes, primarily through creative financing. So seller financing, subject to owner financing. So what is that? That's how do you acquire property without using traditional finance, without using the bank's money, right? So we met him, we heard him speak, and after we heard him speak, we were like, that guy is doing exactly what we want to do. Yep. He built a $10, $20 million portfolio, and it's all off creative financing. So we tracked him down, and we were like, please take our money. We need you to teach us what the hell you've been doing for the last 20 years. And he reluctantly was like, all right, I was retired, but all right, I'll do it. So he mentored us, and he taught us creative financing. So a lot of our portfolio of our rental properties, we own a bunch of single family homes, duplexes, quadplexes. We own a 37-lot mobile home park on 10 acres of land.
Everything at
commercial
that point
property,
is
all
through
acquired
creative financing.
Through creative financing.
Now about everything but our 99% is through creative financing.
Okay. Wow.
So that was that second phase.
You got a question real quick. So, Krystal, one of my favorite parts of the shows that gives me chills when I watch sometimes is the like passion and conviction that you talk about flipping a house on the street you grew up at or right nearby that. Talk to me about like the work and how it's impacted the community, the neighborhoods that you guys have invested in, and what that feels like.
So for me, that is another why as to why I got into real estate, right? So it was Dedric's dream, but you also have to find your place within that dream, right? And it doesn't mean that I couldn't be a part of it because I didn't want to initially get into real estate. It meant whatever you loved, I'ma love it. I just got to find my purpose within it. So for me, I'm a philanthropist. I always have been. Whole life, for me, it's always been about what I can do for someone else. So when it came to real estate, it was, how can I impact other people with this? So when we're going into these neighborhoods, I'm truly looking at the neighborhoods that we're going into, where most people would be like, oh, I'm not going into this neighborhood, or they're going into it only thinking, hey, let me go ahead and flip this and get up out of here real quick. I'm going into it saying, how can we add value to this neighborhood? And even for the neighborhood for which my family grew up on, and where they came to settle post-slavery, was a street that the entire street was my family. Every house on that street was owned by, or was built by someone in my family. So it had a lot of history to me. So a lot of history for me. So for us, when we got into it, it was like, how can we purchase these family homes? How can we purchase these family lands? So we started buying on that street. And for no other reason other than to preserve family history. My mother's childhood home, which we walked past in that same episode, and this is when you, and I know we all investors, but this is when you look and be like, these damn investors. I swear to God, I can't stand these investors. Because I looked at it, we were trying to buy it from my own family member. There's one house, and it's the house that my mother was born at, right? She was raised by her father and her grandparents. It was 12 in this house, 12 people, kids, and then 2 adults lived in this.
8-foot ceilings, 1 room, 1 bedroom. I'm like, how the hell did 12 of y'all live in here? It's just like, you couldn't even fit in the front door. The ceilings were so low.
It is. And we wanted to buy it because my mother, the whole family, you know how when people be like, oh, you go home, you go to the big mama's house, you go to your grandparents when you come into town. It's just that one place everyone goes. And the family member said, well, we're not going to sell it just yet. But when we do, you'll be the first one we call. Well, my mother just had that women's intuition, checked the Zillow. Something just told her that day to check it. She checked it, saw that the house was just sold.
No way.
And sold for $5,000 less than what we offered her. Then we tried to buy it back from the investor. He done marked it up 10x. And I told Dedric, was like, we can't keep going to him because he's gonna know that it means something to us, and the price just keeps getting higher and higher. So then he tore it down, even though he told her he was going to renovate it. Of course, he tore it down and then built the house on it. So now my family was crushed, and seeing that now is what really sparked our Don't Sell Big Mama's House from just that one experience.
Don't sell Big Mama's house.
And we now go in, and we've had people come to us to buy their generational homes, and we educate them first on how to make this house profitable and keep it within the family so that generations can continue to benefit from it. And that is what so many people took away from our show and has contacted us and said, listen, I have a house, my family's home has been in our generation for 50, 60 years, and I didn't see the beauty in it until I saw you guys' TV show. Now we are preserving it. Now we're keeping it. Yep, we just renovated one in Henderson. She's a professor out of DC and saw the TV show and said her father had bought all these rentals in the 60s, and this was his legacy to his children. Passed them down. They're all in the Henderson, Wilmington area. They're all those, houses like you see us renovated, really run down rentals. Nobody's living in them anymore. And it wasn't until she saw the show that she saw the beauty. And she said, you know what? I don't want to discount my father's legacy. She reached out to us, asked if we could renovate the home. We were like, well, we really don't renovate people's houses, like that. But she told me the story, and I said, we absolutely will. So we sent our team down there, they renovated the house.
Yeah, that's going to be on our YouTube channel.
Her father's 90-something years old. He was in hospice. They got him out for one day
to see the big reveal.
To be able to see the reveal. And he was crying, couldn't talk anymore, but just to see his legacy, a house that was once beautiful back in the 60s and 70s, be restored. So that's why I do what we do, is to really impact families and generations.
I love that so much. It actually brings me to a question that somebody asked, and if anybody watches the show, you'll hear them talk about generational wealth and creating that for their own family, and you're teaching others how to do it for their families as well. But how do you talk about it within your household to your kids, or do they even have a clue about what you guys do and what you're creating, not only for you guys, but for them long term?
Yes, because we talk about it every day.
I mean, what did Shaq say to his kids? He said, I'm rich. You're
ain't
not
got
rich.
Dedric makes sure he remind them too when they go to Tiger. We really teach them about generational wealth, but we're doing it more so because we don't want what we've worked so hard to build for them and then their kids' kids to be sold out the moment Dedric and our bodies are cold. So if they are now in the thick of it with us, so they're going to the properties, they're working at these properties, if we gotta clean, you gotta clean. Whatever we have to do, they're doing it. So they have an appreciation for what we have went through, what we're going through, to make sure you guys eat, to make sure you have clothes, but also showing them that within doing all of this, it is better to be a blessing to someone than to be blessed. So we are blessing people by helping renovate these houses and getting families into them. So that's even more important for us with them, because that's true generational wealth. When people ask me, what does that look like for me? I tell people generational wealth to me is when your kids can come back to visit you. And they want to come back to visit you. They want to be around you when you're 60 and 70 years old. That to me means we've done our job. Not how many houses we've left them, how many doors we've been able to pass on to them. True generational wealth for us looks like how many doors can we open for somebody else to walk through it and change the trajectory of their family tree going forward, who now no longer has to live through generational poverty like we did. Somebody got to be the first millionaire. I'm just glad it was me, But now who can I impact in my own family and others?
It's a beautiful definition. I love that so much. All right, so let's kind of kick it back to the real estate piece of your journey. And you went from really wholesaling to buy the rentals. Where did the next phase come in? We're just going to kind of go phase by phase so that everybody has an understanding, because I think what a lot of people in the room are thinking, hey, these guys started right where I'm at right now, but I can see a path forward. I see their success. You guys are special, don't get me wrong, but you're not any more special than anybody in this room. And so if we can understand that process and what that was for you from day one to day now, let's just continue down the journey. So phase 3, let's call it phase 3. Where was that?
Flipping.
Phase 3 was a TV show.
Yep, that was the TV show.
All right, how did that come about? Let's go down that path.
Well, we had been getting, over the course of a few years, constant DMs from casting companies. Like, hey, we'd love to talk to you guys about having your own TV show. And it
Brad's
would...
in the room, too, so you can...
Yes.
Yeah.
We can bring up Brad.
Brad
He can tell the story.
And I would never look at them. I would just scroll past them because, like I said, I'm an extremely private person. Like the CIA birthed a baby with the FBI. I'm literally like that, right? Dedric didn't even know where I lived for the first year of dating me.
No, I didn't know where her real house was.
You had to meet her at all these business meetings every time.
For the first year, he had no idea where I lived. So when we would go on dates, he would think he was dropping me at my house. I would get out the car.
She really had a decoy house. She used to have me drop. That's how I was like, that's weird. So I would drop her off. So I'm waiting for her to go in the house. I'm like, I can walk you to the door, like, I'm a gentleman. She's like, no, I'm good. I'm like, I'll walk you to the door. She's like, no, I'm good. So she would walk up to the house, and then I would reluctantly pull off, right?
Or he'd turn around and be like, where'd she
over
go?
my shoulder. And she would go, it wasn't even her house for like the first year. And she had a lot of stalkers though before we met. She did have stalkers.
Right, so, and your house is your sanctuary, right? That's where your place of peace is for me. So when they kept reaching out, it was just like, yeah, we're not doing this. And then someone from A&E contacted us. They found our 1-800 number.
Kind of like Eric did. Cole called us.
Yep, she called us. Our secretary got it, the message, and she said, listen, this is who I am. Could you please have Mr. and Mrs. Polite give me a call back? And she said, yeah, I'll definitely. She said, no, promise me that you will have one of them please give me a call back. And she said, okay, I promise them. And she said, okay, Melissa, I'm going to take you at your word. You're promising to have them call me back. She said, yeah, I'll have them call you back, I promise. So as soon as I walk into the office, and she's telling me my messages, she's giving me my messages, and she was like, hey, this lady, was it Allie? I think Allie at the time, from A&E Studios called and asked if you can give her a call back. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, no. She said, please give her a call back. And I was like, for what? She was like, because I promised. And I said, well, you lied. And she was like, please, for me, can you please? Because she really made me promise. And I don't want to seem like I lied, please. I know, and she knows how I am about that. And I said, okay, I'll call her back. Next time, don't promise nobody nothing that you can't deliver. And she was like, I won't, I promise. So I called her. So then I called her back, and she was like, listen, first off, I want to say I am not a casting company. I am the in-house casting company for A&E, Factual Studios. We make the decision here. I'm not a third party. Now, she's explaining this to me like I knew any of it, which I didn't. But she was explaining, I do now, she was explaining to me because so many casting companies will get you, they'll get your information, and then they will pitch you to actual companies.
They're kind of wholesale talent. Right.
And I didn't know any of that, but she was trying to stress that to me. And she was like, we saw you and your husband on TV, on social media. We love your social media. We really want to work with you guys and possibly get you a TV show if you wouldn't mind getting on another Zoom call with me and some of my colleagues. And she explained to us what they were doing. They were getting 3 shows that greenlit to do renovation shows. And we were just like, oh, okay. Yeah, we'll hop on a call with you guys. So we hopped on the call, they broke it down to us, and they was like, yeah, we're interviewing a lot of different people, so we haven't made a decision yet, but we definitely love you guys. So we was like, yeah. So for us, we was like, we ain't gonna do it, but let's see how far we get. That's really our mindset. I was like, yeah, we're not doing this.
We didn't think they were actually gonna choose us.
No. But we was like, it'll be cool to be able to tell people like, yeah, we were one of the finalists. How we like to say we were one of the finalists. On Survivor.
American Idol, I was a finalist.
I was number 101. They only took 100 though. But I was definitely 101. So we was just like, we're gonna see how far we can get. And then after like a year, wasn't it like a year, Brad? It was right through COVID. So Brad is our producer. He's the one who actually greenlit our show, guys.
Give it up for Brad. Give a hand for Brad Hokeman over there.
Brad's a good friend of CLTREI. He's been on this stage before too. So.
He's the only reason why we actually have a show, because he's the one who they had to submit. So if he didn't like it, we wouldn't even be here. But they submitted all the tapes to Brad. And he's the one who actually picked the shows that he wanted, and he's the one who greenlit ours. And then he told such a great story in a mastermind about what made him choose ours, which I was like, aw, I didn't know that. But it was when they actually told us, we were on a Zoom call, it was like a year later through COVID, and it was like, yep, so we wanted to say, you guys, we want to offer you your own show. And me and Dedric sitting just like we are, and we were like, oh, okay.
Is he kicking you at this time?
Yep, and we
So roles got reversed here.
We were shocked.
were just like, we didn't know what to say. We just like, oh, okay, all right. When they got off, they're just like, we ain't doing it. I was like, wait, at first it was me who was saying we ain't doing it. He wanted to do it. Then when they said it, he was like, babe, nah.
Shocked me.
We ain't doing this. I was like, well, we kind of have to. Yeah. They done went through all these people and got to us. We can't just, go back on our word. He was like, I don't care about that. Like, you know how people how TV do people when you get on there, and then all of a sudden they put all your business out there. I was like, babe, I don't think that's gonna be us. We're gonna be fine. So we actually found our agent. It took another 6 months for the contract negotiations, and then as soon as it was signed, within 30 days, crew was on the ground.
So our show, it's called Straight to Series. So a lot of times when someone's doing a TV show, they'll do like a sizzle reel or a pilot to see if people like it. With ours, they went straight to series. Like they literally went straight to shooting the episodes, which almost never happens in TV. So
I don't know why. You got to ask Brad how that happened.
We'll get Brad's take on this here at some point. But so what do you think the show has done for you guys since being on it? Like, how has it changed the trajectory of your business? And what have you taken away from it since being on the show?
I think for me, it's more so about the amount of people we've been able to help and be a blessing to, and help change the trajectory of their family tree, right? And people who just like, oh, like you said, there was nothing special about us. And the only ones who really think that is our parents, right? Who's gonna be like, my baby's special, okay? And they should, right? Because I think my baby is the best kids in the world until we behind closed doors, and then, I'm going off, yeah. But for us, it's how we've been able to impact people and how people have been able to see the show, and whether they wanted to get into real estate or they just wanted to see the beauty in their own homes again, or their own family homes, and they've come to us and been like, listen, what's the Celtics player who reached out to us?
Oh, Cedric Maxwell.
Cedric Maxwell
World
saw the
champion
TV
for the
show. And when I tell you he saw the TV show, when we met him at his family's generational home, Big Mama's house.
Outside of Durham.
Right outside of Durham, we met him and his sister there. That house had been sitting, and until he saw it, just his wife or fiance had seen it and was like, you got to see this couple, you got to see it. He went, sat down with her, and then ended up, he said, binging it. He couldn't even move. He was watching episode after episode after episode. Then he got on the phone and called up everyone. Jordan, because they're like best friends.
He said he called Michael Jordan. Like, you need to watch this show.
Everyone started texting them the links to the show. He started calling Stephen A. Smith, like all of these people, like, yo, you gotta watch this show. And it was really because he now was able to see the beauty in his family's home, and was like, man, we met them out there. He walking through the house. He was like, remember, because this episode, I know what you would have done. You would have did this. And he knew everything we said word for word. And then he would tell Dedric, I knew you wouldn't spend the money here. Like,
I'm like, damn, he really watched it.
Yeah.
Okay. He's actually from North Carolina too, Cedric Cornbread Maxwell.
Love it. So it's giving you guys a wonderful platform at the end of the day
absolutely.
to really just further what you already had planned,
Yep.
right? Or what God had planned for you.
Absolutely,
So,
to be able to be a blessing, including helping people with affordable housing. So if you watch the show, we give a lot of our units to older individuals. Who saw the Miss Joyce episode? I know Trey saw it because he was there. But Miss Joyce and Mr. Long, That's really why we also do it, right? No one 80 and 90 should ever have to worry about where they're going to lay their head. So just being able to give people that affordable housing also.
Love that. Eric, what you got?
Yeah. People are here going to want to meet you guys and network a little bit more, so we'll probably wrap it up. You answered a question for me that I like to ask everybody that comes up here, so I'm going to ask you it, since we didn't really dive into it on a personal level with you, but when you've had the amount of success that you guys have had, you have a beautiful story, you guys are beautiful people. What keeps you motivated and going in your why a little bit more?
Man, that's a deep question, Eric. I mean, I feel like we've been incredibly blessed. We've accomplished a lot, but I feel like we're just getting started, right? For me, like Krystal, she's a huge philanthropist. She inspires me by how big her heart is and how much she wants to give. So my job is I want to keep learning and growing so that I can lead her and lead our family and lead our company to as big levels as possible, not for us and not for just monetary reasons, but being able to impact and give and really just impact the world. So that's my why.
Love how aligned you are with each other. Hey, let's give it up for the Polites one more time. I mean, what an incredible couple you guys are. We could sit here and talk more real estate and what the market is and all of that, but we'll let y'all handle those conversations in the network and what people are doing, what you guys are doing, where you're seeing success, where you're seeing, different things in the market. So I know people will have those questions. Sorry we couldn't get to all of them. You guys were probably the most responses we've had at a meetup. So I know we might have to have a part 2 or a podcast or something to get all these questions answered, because you guys were super engaged tonight. We'll end it like we always do, guys. We just really appreciate the Polites for being here, for just providing the value that they did. I know that they will continue to network tonight and answer your questions in person. But listen, we're going to end it how we always do. Hey, we're going to go further together than we ever will apart. Make sure you shake some hands tonight, get to know each other, and we'll see y'all next month.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
And real quick, guys, the Polites wanted to add some more value by giving away something. I'll let you guys talk about it.
Yeah, as a giveaway, we got a QR code up there, so we're giving away our ultimate wholesale bundle. Aptly, we got started wholesaling houses. That's how we got in the game. So if you scan that QR code and put in the code, what was the code I gave you? Was it CLT, REI?
It was REICLT.
REICLT. Put in that QR code. It's a book on how to get into wholesaling. It's also a calculator to determine your cash offer. And there's a bunch of value in there. So that's our free gift to you guys for coming out tonight. We appreciate you guys. And thanks for having us.
Give it up one more time for the Polites.